Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. It's Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern. It's time for the weekly broadcast for the weekly live show. I'm so excited to have you here. Just going to be waiting a few minutes until a few people show up here for this broadcast. I know that some people wanted to really attend this session and join in the conversation. Again, if there's anybody coming on live, please let me know in the comments who's here. Welcome. I see that there's 2 people already on here. Hello, good evening. Say hello in the comments. Let me know that you're here. Let me know what the weather is like over there. Let me know whether you have a tea in your hand, something nice to cozy up on and drink while we're having this conversation. It's going to be a good one. So, good evening. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for making this time again this evening. It's going to be a really nice topic, really good topic to talk about. And this topic today is actually going to be a little different than my typical broadcasts. This one is not going to be so much about tactics. It's not going to be so much about hands-on tips and tricks that you can incorporate into your life. It's more like a little bit of a brainstorming around how our mindset has such a huge impact on our well-being. And I'm going to just be sharing from my own experience tonight, what I have implemented in my life on how to move out of the being stuck in the mental field of negative thought patterns that were part of my life for a long time. And I think it would be great if you could just chime in and let me know if you can relate in all of that. Headed out of work and listening to your life. Oh, okay, nice. Thank you. That's amazing. Okay, well, let's get started here because I do want to honor your time. And whoever is coming on later can watch the replay or, can just pop in and say hi. All right. Well, welcome. Let me just pull that up here. So we go. Okay, perfect. Well, it's been a rough couple of months in Ontario. I'm not gonna lie. So the topic of tonight, actually, what is really holding you back from achieving optimal health is really timely for me. And I don't know about you guys, but for us here in Ontario, we had a rough start because we went into another pretty severe lockdown at the beginning of the year, and I just now coming out of it. So I certainly have had to go back and revisit everything that I'm going to be talking about tonight. So I want you to be really, really honest tonight with me, and I want to ask you if you knew of the one thing, the one pill that would be available for you on the market, the one pill that you can purchase for however much money it would cost you in order to go back, prior to your diagnosis, or in order to make everything go away, in order to make you feel just as good as you were feeling before you started to have all of your symptoms. Would you go out and buy it? Would you go head out and buy it and be done with it and finally be able to go back to your life? Let me know in the comments. Give me a hands up if that is you. Because for me, for the longest time, this was me. For the longest time, I was trying to find that one thing. I dreaded every day. For the longest time, I didn't like my life. I didn't enjoy my life. I felt even as if life cheated on me, kind of like, too bad, but you can't participate anymore kind of thing. So, and even though I started to change things in my life with regards to nutrition and exercise and lifestyle changes and all of it, I still didn't get the full breakthrough. I still didn't feel as if this is the end of it. I still didn't feel as if this was everything that I had to do, because I still didn't feel well, so to speak. And I could feel that, the energy in my family was deteriorating. The energy between my spouse and myself, so between us, my partner and myself, we were having fights, a lot of fights. There was a lot of conflict around, in between my kids and myself as well. And I knew that it wasn't their fault. It was entirely coming from me. And I didn't like it. I didn't like what I was seeing in myself, and I didn't like the way I behaved and the way I turned into the person that I knew it wasn't me. So I knew that I had to do a little bit more work around mindset and around the emotional state of things when it comes to really becoming well with a chronic illness, with an autoimmune disease. So nutrition, everything helped. It wasn't enough. I knew I had to do some more. So let me know in the comments if you can relate. I'm being really honest with you guys tonight, and if you want to chime in and tell me if there's anything similar that you experienced, let me know. So I had to sit down hard, and I had to sit down. I had to think about, okay, I need to do some self development here, big time. Even though I didn't call it self development then, I know now that it's self development, and the inner work. And I was trying to find a way on how to incorporate that. And so the first concept that became really, really clear to me, and that I had to let go of, and that took a long time for me to let go of, is that my life is not going to go back to the way it was before. So I had to be really, really honest with myself, and I had to really let that sink in and make myself understand that the way I lived my life before is not going to happen because of it, because of my diagnosis, because of my autoimmune disease. It's going to change. And I had to be okay with it, and had to start to come up with a way to understand, and in a way to master it. So that became my first vision for myself. The first vision for myself was that it's not about wishing for the past, it's about mastering my present. So it's all about mastery. And I really like how, Kung Fu and mixed martial arts incorporate that concept of mastery. And I looked into that, and I learned that it's all about the long term vision that you have, the long term vision for yourself, and the journey that you're on is a journey that is continuous, and it's about mastering skills, and it's about mastering skills on a daily basis. It's not so much about setting specific goals and achieving these goals and then be done with it. It's about how can I create a daily reality for myself that makes me become better every day. It's going to make me master my skills to deal with my autoimmune better every day, and become the person I know I want to be for my family, my friends, and for myself. So it's the mastery aspect of it. And when you think about it, I also realized very quickly, and I want to let you guys know too, is that health itself is never linear. So there's never just a steep up or a steep down in your health journey. You will find that it's always a roller coaster. It's always the up and down. Maybe sometimes you go in circles, sometimes it's all squiggly. It's the nose dips and the little sores that you get. It's never a straight line. And mastery of your skills to create a daily routine and reality that is working in your favor is to do not get hung up on the little twists and turns. Do not get hung up on those. Do not get hung up on those little nose dips and sores emotionally. Attaching emotions to your progress, it's gonna burn you out. It's gonna completely burn you out. It's gonna completely make you feel like a failure because you're so laser focused on the little twists and turns that you're constantly overthinking. You're constantly overthinking what happened, what did I do wrong, what all of a sudden what changed. You are trying to micromanage everything in your life. So mastery of skills is really having a long vision, like a long-term vision of where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself not tomorrow, not today, but for the rest of your life? Like, where do you want to be? What do you want to experience? What are your priorities? How do you want to be as a person? How do you want your health to be? How much energy do you want to have in in the future, like far away? And then implement little steps. But do not attach those emotions to the little bumps on the road and start to pivot when everything comes your way and throws you a curveball. Pivot and use the tools that you have and that you learn and that you create for yourself in order to overcome these little hurdles. Okay, so that was my first thing that I had to incorporate into my life. And just as a side note, I'm not a life coach and I don't have a degree in psychology or anything like that. So this is just really a conversation between you and me, sharing with you what I have done on that personal level. And, from one autoimmune warrior or rebel to the next, and in hopes that it might even help you along the way as well. Let me see. I have a comment here. Sometimes when I think it will never go back to the way it was, I do get depressed and overwhelmed. Yes, yes, I know. I felt the same way. I felt the same way. And like I just said, I had to make that decision that I am moving out of that mindset because it was not helping me in any respect. And it takes time. It took a very, very long time. I'm still working on it. But you come to a point when you see the long casted vision that you're creating for yourself. When you think about mastering your daily skills, um, you come to a point where when you're actually grateful for the disease. It might sound crazy, but you're actually grateful because of all the inner work and all the self-development that you are doing right now. You are becoming a better person than you were before. And though sometimes it's hard and sometimes, you have so many issues, so much pain, so many flares, or you always have to pivot in a way, you are light years ahead of other people who are not doing any kind of inner work. So, and you are light years ahead of yourself, of your own self, from years ago, without having done any kind of personal development. So that is absolutely true. So how can we though? How can we get to the point where we see this journey as being a mastery versus just suffering? How can we do that? So, for me personally, I realized that I understood that a lot of us humans, I think that's just human nature, is that we all love to put labels on things. We love to put labels on things. Something is either good or something is bad or something is working for us or working against us. You know, your disease may be working against you. Um, there's always categorizing, there's always labeling. Um, and but the truth is that, you know, you can have five different people that have the same experience, right? The same experience of having a health issue, crisis. And all of those five people will go through the experience in five different ways. You will never find one person who will go through the same experience the same way the other person is. And why is that? Because everybody put different labels on different things. Everybody is attaching a different meaning to different experiences. So I would like to tell you a little bit of a story here, which I found very profound. I actually shared that in my group yesterday, in my client group yesterday. So bear with me if anybody is here from yesterday. You will hear the same story again, but I thought I'm going to share it with you guys as well. So there's this old Taoist story about a farmer, and the story is really the title of the story is it good or is it bad? Who knows, right? So that is the title of the story. And so you have this farmer, and the farmer, he has a horse, and this horse to help on the farm, and this horse runs away. And there's only one horse that he has. It runs away, and the neighbors come around, and they come over to the farmer and say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, so sorry that you're losing your horse. What are you going to do now? That's terrible. It's a terrible experience for you. Now you have to do all the work by yourself." And the farmer says, "Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows?" The next day, the horse comes back, and in tow, it brings 10 wild horses. So all of a sudden, his riches went up. All of a sudden, this farmer has not just one horse, it has 11 horses. And now the neighbors come around and say, "Wow, you're so lucky. Now you have so many horses and you have so much help on your farm. That's amazing, right?" So such good luck. And the farmer says, "Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows?" So then his son, he actually he wanted to tame that one of the wild horses, and he hops on the horse, and you know he's been thrown off the horse, and he breaks his leg. So then the neighbors come around again, and they say, "Oh no, your son is hurt. He has a broken leg. Now, what are you going to do now? He's not going to be able to help you with all of this work on the farm." And again, guess what the farmer says? The farmer says, "Is it good or is it bad? Who knows?" And so then the next day, war breaks out, and the army comes around, and the army is looking for young, strong guys to join the army for the war, and they come to the farmer. But his son has a broken leg, so he can't go to war. So he has to stay home with the farmer. And the neighbors come around and say, "You're so lucky. Now, you know, your son, we have lost all our sons. They have to go to war, and we don't know if they can be coming back. And your son, he'll recover from his broken leg, and then he can continue to help you with it." Right? And so again, the farmer says, "Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows?" So you can imagine the story goes on and on and on. But think about that for a moment. Think about that and think about what I just said about labeling, right? So you see, it's how you label your experience is what shapes your life. So when you put that into perspective with your health, right? You are diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows, right? And I want you to think about it. And maybe if you like, share in the comments if you can think of one experience in your life where you thought initially it was such a bad thing that happened to you, and then in retrospect it became one of the best things that ever happened to you. Let me know if you can think of any one story like that. I can share one with you. I can share one personal. I have many stories like that. I wrote them all down when I decided for myself that I had to stop labeling good or bad and be in the moment and go on the journey of mastery and skill development, to become a better person. So here's my story. So in elementary school, I think it was in I was in grade 7 or grade 8. I think maybe grade 8. I had a really hard time in the class that I was in. There were a lot of mean girls, and they were saying a lot of mean things, and I couldn't really connect with these girls so much, and I was very unhappy in that environment, very unhappy, and I never talked about it to my parents. And that is actually another topic for all of you guys with Hashimoto's in terms of the throat chakra, speaking up for yourself. So I had the hardest time to speak up for myself when I was a kid, and I never talked about it. And then one day I almost had a breakdown, and my mom said to me, "Okay, you have to tell me what's up." And I told her, stuff that was happening. So it was a really bad, experience, bad time in my life. And my mom, overnight, she took me out of that school, and she actually enrolled me in an all girls school. It was a private all girls school. Horrifying to me at that point, right? But I did go, and in retrospect, guess what happened in the all girls school? I met my future best friend, right? So I met my future best friend. Her name is Anne, and we're still best friends to this date. So I was 13 when I met her in that school. If the bad thing had not happened to me, I would have never met Anne in my life, right? So when you think about these things, right, it all comes down to how you label things, right? So that is the other point that I was going to mention, talk about today, the labeling. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that relates to you guys. Let me know in the comments if this is something that resonates with you. And the third thing I would like to mention is, that comes after, that I worked on a lot after and still working on, is the notion of abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. Because, when we're having all of those doubts and fears, and like, you just said in the comment, the overwhelm and even depression, sadness around it, it comes from a place of scarcity. Scarcity creates like negative feelings for the person who has it. Scarcity is based on fear and doubt, right? So on an individual level, your personal growth slows down or it even stops, and your health slows down and stops, because scarcity is based on fear. Fear is a very strong emotion that creates internal stress. And we all know what internal stress does to our health. So scarcity not only creates fear and doubt, and sadness, but it also creates health issues at the same time. There's a lot of doubt, a lot of overwhelm, frustration, all of these things. But oftentimes also scarcity, it doesn't even just stop there, because when you think about it, how does scarcity mentality show up in your family? And that is something I'm tying back to when I first started this conversation today, is around how I could feel that my personal life, the energy in my within my family unit and my friends was starting to crumble, and was starting to have like a catabolic effect. Everything was starting to break apart, and it all came a from a place of scarcity, right? Versus abundance. So, you know, you might feel like that you're having more arguments with your friends, family. You feel like that maybe your small children starting to cling to you more because they innately feel that you are not doing so well. So there's a lot of friction that is coming that way. On the other side, if you have an abundance mentality, how does it show up for you? Right? Abundance, it shows up for you with positivity, and creativity and trust and faith. That is where the abundance is coming from. So I decided, and that's something I'm still working on. I'm constantly working on that. If something doesn't go well for me, I embrace the abundance mentality. I have decided for myself that I am telling myself and I'm convincing myself that everything, regardless of what happens, always works out in my favor, right? Even if something that seems to be bad happens for me, in the end, it's going to work out in my favor. So, everybody has to find their own ways of trying to bring more abundance into their mindset. But this is something that I have created for myself. And there's a few questions that you can ask yourself, if you are in an abundance or scarcity mindset, right? So you can ask yourself, am I taking risks? Or do I feel everything has to be 100% safe before you move forward? That's the scarcity mentality, because there's so much fear around it. If you need to have 100% security and a safety net around your decision making, then you're acting from a place of scarcity, which is always holding you back. But if you're willing and able to take risks in your health and in your life, then you are embracing abundance, right? Another question you can ask yourself is, do I feel overwhelmed a lot of times or disorganized? Right? So feeling that things are happening to you versus we are in charge. Because when you take charge, you feel that you're in control. And that is abundance mentality, right? So when we feel the overwhelm and the frustration, that is scarcity mentality. And sometimes we slide into this mentality when we don't feel well, right? And when we feel we're not doing enough. Either we are not enough, or there's not enough resources, or not enough clarity, or not enough support, or whatever it is. And we're sliding back into that scarcity mentality, right? And there's one tool I would like to share with you that I use for myself to see if I am sliding into scarcity or abundance mentality. And that is sort of like a diagnosis. Internal diagnosis is I ask myself, am I feeling expansive or am I feeling contractive? It's just that one thing. When I'm feeling expansive, I'm feeling engaged, I'm feeling creative, positive, I'm feeling okay with with having this disease. I'm feeling okay with the joint pain. I'm feeling okay with the fact that I can't do, the same type of workout that I did yesterday because my joints are hurting. I'm feeling okay with the fact that I have maybe a little bit more bloating today than I did yesterday, right? I'm feeling okay with the fact that I maybe feel more tired, that I need to take some more rest today than I did, even though I have 100,000 things to do, right? That is feeling expansive. But when I feel contractive, right, then it's fear that's creeping in, because I know that fear is, it's starting the fight or flight reaction. It's starting to get my it's starting to get my nervous system upregulated. My muscles contract. I feel stiff. I feel tight. Then I know that I am sliding into the scarcity mentality because fear is creeping back up. And there's a few things, some examples I would like to share with you when you're feeling that you're sliding into that scarcity mentality, what you can do in order to autocorrect yourself, so to speak. Okay, I have been talking a lot again, so let me know in the comments if that is too out there for you. I apologize if that is too out there. I'm just keep sharing though. Um, mm, so a few examples that I do in order to pull myself back into the abundance mentality, so that I can continue on my journey of mastering my skills, whether it's self-development or whether it's health related, um, are it's literally gratitude. So gratitude, it has been proven scientifically over and over and over again that people who have expressed gratitude towards themselves are much better off in terms of health than others that don't, right? So looking at situations as them flowing in and flowing out of your life and having gratitude for it, regardless of what happens. So, for example, there's this one guy, you can look him up. He is Japanese. His name is Ken Honda. Ken Honda. And he coined that term in Japanese, which is called arigato in, arigato out, which means, you know, money comes in and money goes out. Health comes in and health goes out. And as everything comes in my life, I'm going to thank it for coming my way. And when it leaves my life, I'm going to thank it for leaving my life again. Right? So he created the term around money mindset when he said people are get so freaked out when all those bills come in all the time. But instead of freaking out about it, you can say, wow, you know, thank you for, having trust in me that I'm able to pay my car bill or my electricity bill. So thank you for having that trust in me. And here I pay you my money. And thank you for having that trust in me. And then when the money goes out, you say, thank you again. And same thing with health. It applies to everything in your life. Everything comes into your life and everything leaves your life again. There's a constant flow of energy, right? The constant flow. Some days are better, some days are worse. Yeah, so we say thank you for the good days. And then we also say thank you for the bad days when they leave us, right? So expressing gratitude is literally something that I do every morning before I wake up, before I even get out of bed. Telling myself 3 things I'm grateful for that day. So to rewire my brain to have a positive mindset for the day. Another thing is that you get to choose the people in your environment. And that was a huge part for me, right? Because there's also a saying, another Tao saying that says, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner, right? So that's not to say that you shouldn't, just let yourself go and do whatever you feel like and please yourself with all the time without thinking about others. But if you care about what other people think about you all the time and then correct your behavior to make it fit what other people think about you will always be their prisoner. So choose the people in your environment that are lifting you up and that are supportive of you. And you are in control, and you can control who you choose to spend your most of your time with. And if necessary, you have to have some difficult conversations with people that are a negative, energetic influence, that have a negative energetic influence on you. It's hard. I had to do it. But as we all change and as we all grow and mature in life, sometimes we have to let go of relationships that are no longer, benefiting us. And the third thing that I want to mention here is how you can really, get into the abundance mindset more is to set goals and have a vision that is expansive. Because if you have a vision for yourself, a long-term vision for yourself, that expands you. And it broadens your current reality. So if you are mingling with people that are inspiring you, or if you're reading books that are inspiring you, I love superhero movies. I think they're just so cool, and how superheroes can always do like the amazing stuff that nobody else can do. Um, but that's just me. But having a vision that expands you and your current reality is going to be super, super important because it'll really help you to create that positivity. And it's not just about what happens tomorrow or the next day. It's about the maximum possibility that you want to live in terms of experiences, growth, expanding your vision of what is possible for you in your health. And really just cast that vision of how you see yourself in the distant future where you want to be. Set this goal and have a vision for yourself. So it's really important to identify when you're not operating out of abundance and scarcity, because remember how I said scarcity is based on fear and doubt, and it creates stress in your body and creates stress in your life, and you will not be able to achieve those health goals that you're envisioning for yourself if you are reacting from a place of scarcity. And this is all I have for you guys tonight. Yes, let me know. Let me know if that resonated with you guys. Just to quickly summarize, what is really holding you back from achieving optimal health? Mastery of skills, daily mastery of skills, getting rid of labeling, what is good, what is bad, who knows, right? Sometimes yin yang, there's this seed in yin yang that always seeds it's a new seed for something positive that might happen out of something negative. And then moving into the abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. Those are the three things that I've been consistently working on when I realized that the physical aspect is important, but it's not everything. The mindset and your emotional health and well-being has to be just on par with everything else. All right, that's it for tonight, guys. yeah, I hope that you are going to have a good evening, and I will see you again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good night, guys.